FBI closely monitoring Trump supporters in run-up to 2024 election. DC Clothesline using the excuse of fighting ideological agendas that contradict the establishment's version of truth. The corrupt Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, is targeting supporters of Donald Trump in the run-up to the 2024 election because Trump supporters are now considered to be domestic terrorists that threaten the established order. Prior to the January 6 insurrection, the FBI's AGAAVE program, which stands for Anti-Government, Anti-Authority Violent Extremist, only considered a certain segment of society to be a threat. Now, AGAAVE has been expanded to include those who aim for the furtherance of political and/or social agenda, which includes Americans who support Trump. The FBI expanded AGAAVE into AGAAVE-other to widen the catch net of people whom it considers to be a threat to society. It is no longer just anarchists, militia members, and so-called sovereign citizens. Now, if you support the wrong political candidate, the FBI considers you, too, to be a threat. In October 2022, the official definition given to AGAAVE-other was intentionally vague. It now includes domestic violent extremists who cite anti-government or anti-authority motivations for violence or criminal activity not otherwise defined. As explained by the National Pulse's Jake Welch, the FBI does not overtly mention MAGA, Make America Great Again, in this definition, but government insiders say that MAGA is the primary target of the FBI. In practical terms, it refers to MAGA, though carefully constructed language is wholly nonpartisan. An anonymous FBI officer is quoted as saying about the matter. Related. All during the Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, government websites were retooled to spy on Americans in the name of public health. Senior intelligence officer at DNI says FBI's AGAAVE-other definition is so broad that it could mean anything from a few thousand Proud Boys to 30% of country's electorate. Even those on the inside are unclear as to the full extent of the FBI's AGAAVE-other program. One senior intelligence officer who works at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, DNI, stated that he is still unclear as to whether or not the FBI is interested in a handful of Proud Boys, extremists, or if the agency really does want to take down the 30% of America's electorate that voted for Trump in past elections. I don't know the answer, and I can assure you the answer isn't in any secret intelligence that the government possesses, the officer explained. It would seem as though the FBI is going after 30% of the country's electorate, seeing as how the number of domestic violence extremism investigations is skyrocketing. At the end of 2022, the FBI had about 2,700 ongoing cases in motion, which is double the number of cases in spring 2020. Time equals 400 ms, greater than. The total number of domestic terrorism investigations is now more than 9,000, with the main target being Trump supporters, Welch writes. The FBI is not the only federal agency or entity in Washington, D.C. targeting Trump supporters. There is also the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and the White House, both of which want MAGA to end. Christopher Costa, a former White House head of counterterrorism, says DC's overall aim is to throw the full weight of the law at what it considers to be anti-government terrorists. In Costa's view, this represents a small percentage of misguided fellow Americans. Time equals 400 ms, greater than. Another senior intelligence official says there is a general air of contempt around D.C. for Trump and his supporters, especially as we approach the 2024 election cycle. Trump's army constitutes the greatest threat of violence domestically, politically. That's the reality and the problem. This person is quoted as saying, "The latest news about Trump's run for the presidency in 2024 can be found at Trump News."